Good, happy Friday morning. Is Friday, April 10, 2026. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday morning edition of WRMK News 12. We have a lot of news to get to on this Friday morning, so let's begin right now. First up, Trump criticizes Iran as Strait of Hormuz reopening stalls aimed fragile ceasefire. President Donald Trump says Iran is doing a very poor job reopening the vital Strait of Hormuz, raising concerns of a fragile ceasefire faces growing strain. His comments come as he also urged Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to scale back military operations in Lebanon, aimed fears that continued strikes could further destabilize the region and undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts. NFL streaming expansion draws scrutiny as fans face rising cost. Streaming is playing an increasingly permanent role in the NFL's broadcast strategy, with some games now airing exclusively on platforms like Prime Video, Netflix, and Peacock. The shift has left many fans juggling multiple subscriptions to follow their teams. It's become more of a hassle, said fan Michael Walter. You have to actively work just to watch the games. The U.S. Department of Justice is now reviewing whether the league's media deal create anti-competitive barriers by facing consumers to pay for multiple services. Officials say the inquiry focuses on affordability and fair composition. League experts note the NFL's antitrust exemption under the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 applies only to free over-the-air television, not streaming or cable. Despite this scrutiny, analysts say change is unlikely as tech companies continue to pay heavily for exclusive rights. Meanwhile, some fans say the rising costs are pushing them to watch games at bars or with friends instead. In response, the NFL defended its model, noting that the majority of games remain available on free broadcast television and citing strong viewership as evidence of accessibility. New Hampshire child advocate increases oversight at youth facility aimed abuse allegations. The New Hampshire Office of Child Advocate, OCA, is increasing its oversight of Sununu Youth Service Center in Manchester following an investigation into alleged illegal practice and reports of abuse and neglect. Officials said the agency is now conducting weekly visits to the facility, which houses detained youth ages 13 to 17. The investigation began after a complaint on March 9th, citing extended lockdowns that limited movement and outdoor access. Additional concerns included the alleged improper use of a physical restraint that left a child with a broken bone. According to the OCA, the child was held in an illegal prone position for more than 3 minutes, with delays in receiving medical care. The state child advocate said the agency will continue reviewing footage, conduct interviews, and working with state officials to address the issues. The Department of Health and Human Services said it is reviewing the allegations and will respond after completing its assessment. The Attorney General's office also said it is working with state agencies to ensure a thorough investigation and address any potential violations. Officials say increased oversight will remain in place as efforts continue to ensure the safety and proper care of youth at the facility. Median barriers installed on I-95 to prevent fatal wrong-way crashes. Crews have begun installing new median barriers along a 5-mile stretch of Interstate 95 following a series of fatal wrong-way crashes in recent years. The project, which will take place overnight in the coming weeks, targets a heavily traveled corridor used by more than 100,000 drivers daily. Officials say the barriers are designed to prevent vehicles from crossing the median and causing head-on collisions. Median barriers are one of the most effective ways to save lives, said Executive Counselor Janet Stevens, noting such measure can reduce these types of crashes by up to 97%. The $4.6 million project includes the installation of cable barriers, guardrails, and concrete dividers between Route 151 in Northampton and Sherburne Road in Portsmouth. Funding comes from the Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program. Officials say the upgrades follow multiple crashes linked to speeding, impairment, and distracted driving. Construction is expected to shift to daytime work in mid-May, with completion scheduled for this September. New Hampshire lawmakers pass compromise bill increasing DWI test refuel penalties. New Hampshire lawmakers have approved a bipartisan compromise to increase penalties for drivers who refuse sobriety testing, closing what supporters call a major gap in the state's DWI laws. The measure raises the license suspension for refusal from 6 months to 9 months, short of the 1-year penalty previously rejected by the House. Supporters say the change addressing growing concerns, with police reporting that about 75% of drivers stopped this year have refused testing. Backers argued the bill improves public safety by discouraging refuels, while some opponents contend stricter penalties could infringe on due process and impact employment for drivers who lose their licenses. The legislation backed by Governor Kelly Ayotte passed with strong bipartisan support after a shift among Democratic lawmakers helped secure approval. Officials say the compromise reflects a balance between enforcement and civil liberties and aims to reduce impaired driving across the state. Authorities seek new leads in 46-year-old disappearance of a New Hampshire teen. New Hampshire's cold case unit is reviewing its call for information in the 1980 disappearance of a 15-year-old Rachel Gardner in Newton. Gardner was last seen on March 22nd, 1980, walking home from Rose Corner Market on Pond Street. Despite extensive searches at the time, investigators found no trace of her and now believe foul play was involved. She was last seen wearing a blue ski Parker jeans, a plaid shirt, and brown lace-up shoes, and was wearing a dark blue tote bag labeled Things. Officials are asking anyone who saw Gardner that day or has information about her disappearance to come forward. Tips can be submitted anonymously to the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. And that does it for this Friday morning edition of WRMK News 12. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and see you back here later on today with more news coverage. Goodbye, everyone.